timer didn't even run out already. Oh, it did. Four, three, two, one.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I am your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me today to talk about one of the best nights of the NHL season so far, in my opinion, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for a 6-game slate. It feels like we haven't got one of these mid-sized slates in a few months, and this is a good one. There's a lot of stuff going on in this slate, so glad it's only 6 games, so we actually have more than 12 seconds to talk about each game.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to be able to breathe about these games a little bit, but let's talk about last night's slate real quick. Before we get too much further, if you guys could throw us a thumbs up and a subscribe, really helps us grow this channel, keep these shows coming on a regular basis in this sport and all the other sports. It makes us look good for our bosses too. Help us do that a little bit. Let's talk about last night's slate because, like I said at the top of the show, it was a good night for a lot of Awesemo players, Awesemo subscribers. How did you do? I'll say I played 2 lineups last night, main cashed one and won some tickets and stuff. So, you know, I won some money last night. Obviously not nearly as much as some other people did, but I was satisfied. How'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, I had a ticket to the 300Q, so I ended up, if you take that out, I 2X. I should have cashed, but Gibson kind of had quite a third period roller coaster, so I didn't. So I ended up 2Xing if you take that out. Had Nashville, had New Jersey too, and Buchnevich. So not the best, but I cashed, and we take those and we run.
Yeah, exactly. Any night that you can cash, you know, maybe something could have gone differently. You know, you can always do that to yourself. But if you make some money any night in DFS, take that and run. You and I didn't do that hot. We did all right, but a lot of other people in our chat did real well last night. So let's run this down quickly. Zig 30 takedown over on FanDuel. It was a $100 buy-in with 20K to first, if I'm not mistaken. He took first place, and then second place went to Josh Anderson, not the Montreal Canadiens but Josh Anderson got to get this win, who works here at Awesemo. He finished second in the Awesemo $100 for 10K. So Zig 30 took first, Josh took second. I saw AMG 77 took down the $3 3 max. Our buddy Saul, Mr. G, had this second place in the $15 and had a 5-figure night for himself. We have the house, Knee House, had a 20X night, including a ticket to the Peppermint Patty. And then, you know, we had some other people win smaller things across the slate, like 2X and 3X and things like that. But it was a pretty good night for Awesemo subscribers last night. And, you know, I think it was Nashville that did it. Like, we talked a lot about Nashville, one that did it, and Forsberg and Granlund, and even Duchesne did well last night. They really looked good up against Columbus.
Yeah. Nashville, I mean, like, I'm going to sound like I'm complaining. I'm really not. But, like, for a 6-0 game and Forsberg scoring 4 goals, that was literally the net low performance. Like, Forsberg didn't even have the shot bonus. Like, he shot 4 for 4. Granlund just went full Wenberg. Didn't even have a shot on goal. He had 4 assists. Duchesne had the shot bonus and 2 assists. And then Yossi on 6 goals, 2 block shots and 1 shot on goal. Like, listen, I'm happy I played them. They were low owned and we got ahead of the trend. I think it's going to be a while before we get low on Nashville 1 again. I think, you know, we're going to go back to how it was where people just slam Nashville 1. But, man, like, whew, that was on the range of outcomes for how that game went. That was very low.
Yeah, I will say I played 2 lineups last night, and I think I got lucky. I played Nashville in one lineup, but without Yossi, and then I put Yossi in the other one, and that other lineup with Yossi was actually my worst one. So everything kind of worked out there. But you're right, Forsberg 4 goals on 4 shots, doesn't even get the shot bonus. He still puts up 46 DK points. Like, it's a monster night. But yeah, didn't put up the shot bonus, even though he scored 4 goals. And of course, we have to talk about Dallas 1. you know, every day here at Awesemo, it seems like somebody just kind of slaps us in the face, just to give us a little reminder that we're not nearly as smart as we think we are. And yesterday, a lot of our subscribers and, you know, even our numbers and stuff were high on the Dallas top line, and Rope Hintz in particular against Carolina. You know, Carolina on the road had no D'Angelo, no Pesci. I wasn't high on Hintz. I was really worried about the matchup. I thought he might get Jordan Staal. Rope Hintz went out and got a hat trick last night. So it's one of those things like I was just flat out wrong about Hintz and Dallas last night, but then I was right about Nashville and Forsberg and Duchesne. So that's kind of the way that this DFS game goes, is that you're going to be right, or you're going to be wrong a lot. It's just when you get right, you have to get right big. And that's, you know, that's kind of, you know, we talk about playing volume and playing, you know, different contests and watching the rake and watching, you know, payout structure and things like that. But it's just funny. You know, we sit here and we talk about, you know, we'll talk about 100 players in a given day. And, you know, it just seems like anybody we badmouth just makes us look instantly stupid. And it's a nice reminder that it's hockey after all.
Yeah. I was kind of middle of the pack on Dallas one. I didn't end up playing him. The thing is, like, I don't know. That was just a weird 3 goals. Like, it just feels like the other night when they were playing Colorado, they scored 2 goals in 38 seconds and it did nothing the rest of the game. It was kind of the same thing. And then Rope hit the empty net. So I don't know. I hate saying process over results, because that is my least favorite phrase for DFS. Like, the only thing that matters is the results. You know what I mean?
Thank
but
you.
Like, the process and why we didn't play Dallas one, I think was correct. We're just wrong. We just ended up being wrong, and that's just the fact of it. Where I'm not going to blame variance like a lot of touts. I don't even want to call myself a tout, but like, okay, but like, it wasn't variance. We were just flat out wrong.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's still a very good line, right? Like, they have very good numbers, and that's, you know, that was definitely one reason to play them. And like, you're going to get slapped down every once in a while. It's nice to keep yourself humble and to not grow too big, because I know, you know, we have had some people win here at Awesemo this season, and I've gotten some DMs about like bankroll management and when to jump up stakes and things like that. And, you know, I would just say, you know, like last night, you can be right about Nashville and then be completely wrong about Dallas and still not win any money. You have to be right about a lot of things to get ahead in this game. So if some things aren't going well, just keep on moving. And for process and results, I agree with you. Like, I think we have a good process. We talk people through here every day. I think we're pretty consistent in what we look for and what we don't. But the process and results thing is that a very wise man once told me, process don't pay the bills. You can have a great process, but if you're not winning money, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That's what this game is about. And, you know, not everything comes down to money. That's not what life is about. But this is DFS. You're either winning money or you're not. There's no in between. So just keep in mind that, you know, we do get stuff wrong. We do get some stuff right. People win some money. Sometimes we lose, but hopefully we win more often than not. Anything else you want to touch on last night's slate before we get moving? Like, I know there was that banana. Like, you talk about that Kings third period. The Caps and Panthers had a bananas third period too. The Capitals went in with a 4-1. The Capitals went into the third period with a 4-1 lead and lost 5-4 in regulation. That's crazy.
That's what happened to Ducks Kings. It was 4-1 going into the third. Ducks ended up pulling out in the shootout. But man, there's like, John Gibson couldn't stop a beach ball if it got floated to him in the third period. He's giving up juicy rebounds, bad bounces, but that's part of hockey. But whew, you know, I see people saying, you know, goalie, you know, people are struggling with goalies. Like, listen, there's no easy way to project goalies. It's just, you know, when you're picking the right one, you're picking the right one. If you're picking the wrong one, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, there's no science behind it. You know, you just play the guys you like and hope for the best, really. That's really what it is.
That's why we talk about shot volume, because that's the best safety net that we have in DFS for goalies is shot volume. You know, Samsonov gave up 5 goals last night, but I think he still had like 17 DK points or something like that 5 goals and a loss, but he still had like 17 DK points because he saw so many shots. So that's the one thing that we talk about with goalies. Just always try to look, well, not always, but try to look for shot volume when you can. All right, we do have to get this moving because we do have a 6-game slate up ahead of us. If you guys could, please click that like and subscribe. Already mentioned it, but we've had some people join lately. So if you could click that little subscribe button, it really helps us out. Just want to mention for the subscribers at Awesemo, we do have Data Central up on the site. It aggregates all the information, whether it's projection, whether it's ranking, whether it's salary cost, whether it's value, ownership, everything onto one sheet. So if you're in a rush, you can kind of just quick check everything and make your lineup and then be on your way. So be sure to check out Data Central. It's under the NHL tab for Awesemo subscribers. All right. Free premium tools and data up on the site as we normally do every day. Today we have NBA player projections and we also have NHL player rankings. So if you're playing NBA or NHL, be sure to check out what we have up on the site tonight. All right, let's get to these games. Philly, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into New York. The Rangers have a 3.4 implied goal total. This is probably going to be one of the most interesting games on the slate because, you know, the Rangers, for me, they're not giving off the same vibes as Dallas yesterday, but it's kind of the same vibes. Like, it seems like they have the second highest total on the entire slate, and they were one of the worst 5-on-5 teams in hockey for the last month. I know Philly's nothing to write home about. Sean Couturier not playing with Claude Giroux is a downgrade for Couturier. You know, Philly does take a fair share of penalties, but their goaltending has also been pretty good this year. So I can kind of see this game, you know, literally going either way. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Josh, because this feels like a very important game to the outcome of tonight's DFS performance.
Yeah. Is Igor going to score goals? Like, I don't know where the Rangers total is coming from. Like, they're absolutely awful 5-on-5. Like, they're terrible. And they haven't gotten better because they have, you know, duct tape, smoke and mirror playing right wing right now. They have no right wingers. Capo Caca moving up to the top line is a nice boost for Zibanejad and Kreider, but they still haven't been great 5-on-5. Kreider's been going nuts, but it's been all on the power play. So I think, like, yeah, Drew's away from Couturier, which helps 5-on-5, but like they're still not good 5-on-5. So I think for me, the Rangers side, I'll power play stack because that's what I tend to do anyway. You know, I just, you know, even when Kakko was on the second line, they didn't have a power play one right winger up there anyway. So I just tend to power play stack anyway. I like getting, you know, Strome, Panarin, Kreider, Strome, Panarin, Zibanejad, and Kreider, Panarin, something like that. I just try to keep their best players together on the power play. You know, Carter Hart, we used to like drag on last year, but like he's come out and said, like, listen, like all this, the COVID stuff really messed with my head and this and that. And he's playing much better this year. I don't want to say like if the totals were flipped, I wouldn't bat an eye because a 3.4 total on the Flyers would be hilarious in this situation. But like, I'm surprised this isn't like a 5.5 total. This is a 6 total game. So for me, Rangers, I probably power play stack. And then like you go down the lineup and you see that third line, Lafreniere, Hedl. And, you know, going forward, I think that is a decent 2-man because they're going to get, you know, pretty good matchups, but not tonight. Like they're going to run into Lawton, Hayes, and Konechny. That's not a normal third line. Like that's a pretty decent third line. I think I'd rather play Hayes and Konechny. The 2-man is, you know, 7,100 for the two of them. They're coming in under 1%. The problem is, like, I really like Igor tonight. I like Igor every night. I'm just an Igor guy. I don't want to anoint him as the best goalie in the league, but he's the best goalie in the league. So I don't know how much Flyers I'll have. Like in 1 to 3, they're probably not going to make my cut. But, you know, as you get further, 20 to 150, I think having a lot of, not a lot, but having some Flyers makes some sense.
Yeah, the line that jumped out to me immediately in this game was the Rangers' second line because why, like Dryden Hunt, like why is he on the second line? Yeah. But then, like I kind of dug into Dryden Hunt's numbers, and he's not a bad player. Yeah, he's a good defensive winger. I'll say, like, I think he can kind of just replace what Kakko's role on that line because, like, let's face it, Kakko's role in that line was not offense, generating offense. It was, you know, being a two-way winger on that line. I think Dryden Hunt can kind of fill that role, and that kind of makes me want to go down to that Rangers second line. Like, I don't like playing Ryan Strome because I think he's like wildly overrated.
Yeah.
But him and Panarin clearly have some chemistry together going back to last year. Strome's price is very reasonable at 4,500 on DK. Like, if something happens where Philly mixes up their lines and goes back to Couturier and Giroux, like, Strome and Panarin won't go up against them. So, Philly changes their lines. You have that bit of safety as well. And then, Strome and Panarin on the power play together as well. And that's, you and I talked before the show. I think that's where I would attack Philly the most is their penalty kill, because Philly's sixth most penalties against this year, like power plays opportunities given to the opponent. And their penalty kill isn't very good either. Like, fringe bottom 10 in the league for the season. So I think, Fox, Strome, Panarin, that's kind of the stack that I would focus on. Maybe if you want to add it as a bandage ad, get some additional Rangers power play stacking. That's how I would treat the Rangers today. Like, I'm with you. I do like that third line. It's just not the matchup for me to use it. On the Flyers side, it's the prices that's really, really driving me here. Kevin Hayes, 2,900 on DraftKings. Like, this guy is a 20 to 25 goal, 200 shot center, priced to 2,900. Like, it's because he was injured. It's just a mispricing. So like 2,900 Hayes is obviously very appealing to me with Konechny down on that third line. Don't mind them as a two-man, as you mentioned, coming in low owned. The duo that's really interesting to me is the top line duo of Couturier and Farabee, because Farabee is very cheap down at 3,100. He's up on the top line with Couturier. He's up on the top power play unit with Couturier as well. It's a two-man that comes in under $8,500. You can even throw in James Riemsdyk and full stack the entire line. And then that entire line is what? I think 11,500, 11,300.
Yeah.
And they're coming in under 10% owned. That's a fully correlated top line for 11,300 coming in under 10% on a slate where there are a lot of expensive options. Like, it
against a bad defensive line.
Against a bad defensive Rangers top line. So it feels to me like Philly won, even though they're kind of negative leveraged. I really do like that spot here. Igor sucks. I agree with you. I don't know if he's the best, but he's at least, top two, top three. It's a really tough spot. So I think Couturier, Farabee, Van Riemsdyk, absolutely. Even in your 1 to 3s, I think I'm going to be looking at getting them in. Hayes and Konechny, I think, are fine as a two-man as well. So that's where I go on the Flyers side. On the Rangers side, mostly focusing on Rangers 2 and a power play stack. On the blue line, like, Provorov and Yandel are getting the power play minutes for Philly. I wrote in my article that I think Adam Fox makes sense as a one-off here tonight, because I don't think he's going to be very high owned, because there are a lot of expensive forwards on this slate. So I can't see a lot of people spending $7K plus on a defenseman. I think Adam Fox feels fine as a one-off. Anybody else stick out to you? I know Jacob Trouba is somebody that was talked about a lot in our Discord.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Fox is going to be way lower owned because people are coming down to the one-off. They're going to put in Trouba before they put in Fox, I would imagine. So, I mean, listen, Fox isn't a super high volume shooter, but if the Rangers are going to score some power play goals, he's going to be involved. So I think that makes sense. Trouba makes sense. Sanheim, Ristolainen at 3K, if you're punting, makes sense. If you're using the Flyers top line, Provorov makes sense. Like, there's a lot that makes sense. There just isn't like a lot of like, yeah, let's get this guy in the lineup.
Yeah, like, I know, like, there are a lot of, like, not a lot. There are some Flyers defensemen that I want to play. Like, I look at Nick Seeler on the top pair for 2,500 with Ivan Provorov, and I feel like Nick Seeler has a good shot blocking rate, but like, I don't know if he can do a lot more than put up a block shot bonus here tonight. So maybe Nick Seeler, but that's about it for me. Anything else for you out of this game? I guess we probably should mention that you like Igor here tonight, but he also is expensive. He's the most expensive goalie on the slate. So hate to say it. What do you think about the old Philly side of the goaltending ledger here?
I like both goalies in this game. Because the Flyers total is so low and the Rangers minus 200 favorite, Carter Hart's price all the way down to 7,100. Rangers, couldn't hit the Pacific Ocean if they fell off a boat in California 5-on-5. So I think, Carter Hart makes some sense. Shot volume might be a concern, but the Rangers do shoot the puck. They just, don't do anything with it. So, yeah.
No, sorry. I just wanted to mention, I saw somebody mention in chat, they took down third in the quarter jukebox last night. So good for you. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I lost my train of thought and like paused. So
okay,
we're good. Yeah,
no,
we're good.
All right. Yeah, do like Carter Hart. Last thing I want to mention about this game, a lot of people are going to remember Mika Zibanejad absolutely destroying Philly last year, back-to-back 6-point games. Carter Hart talked a lot in the offseason about how hard the quarantine season was for him, like just going through quarantines and being home alone. And, you know, this was pre-vax. A lot of it was pre-vaccine, so they weren't going to restaurants and things like that. Like, you know, anybody that lived through the last 18 months, I think, could probably identify with him. And maybe he took it, maybe it was a little bit harder for him than other people, and he's just bouncing back now. I think it's just a natural bounce back for him. I do like Carter Hart.
Goalies are just weird people in general anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, let's move along to the next game. Probably the one I think everybody will be watching here tonight. 2.9 implied goal total for the Colorado Avalanche. They're going into Toronto, and the Leafs have a 3.1 implied goal total. Obviously, the big news in this game is the return of Nathan MacKinnon. The guy's been in and out of the lineup all season this year, but he is back tonight. He's going to be back on the top line with his usual line mates of Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen. Now, there is a quartet of elite centers here tonight. McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, McKinnon. And McKinnon is the cheapest of the four. But it also looks like it's probably the hardest matchup of the four. So I'm interested what your thoughts are on this game, Josh.
Every time I see a tough matchup for McKinnon and he's low ownership, I think about your tweet about how, you know, fading McKinnon as I beg for change on the corner or something like that.
Yeah.
So like in GPPs, like if I can get this line at 4%, I don't care what the matchup is. Like I don't care. They're one of the most elite lines in the NHL. McKinnon's coming back from injuries, so that might give you some pause, but maybe some pause in 1 to 3. But MME, you got to get over the field here on Colorado 1, I think. You know, you saw what they were doing without McKinnon. They're just nuking people on the power play. Bowen Byron's back. He's another puck mover. Cliffy talks about that a lot, how important puck moving defensemen are to these teams. You know, you move Mikko back to the wing where he's best. So the ownership is driving me there. The price is, you know, for the road Avs actually isn't too bad. I thought, you know, because Mikko Rantanen was priced up in the high 8s for a while, they actually moved him down since they moved him back to the wing, which was a nice surprise. So it's like their price isn't crazy and their ownership is in check. Yeah, they're going to get Matthews, and don't game stack it. You can't game stack that anyway, because you'll be like, maybe you can on FanDuel because their pricing is a joke and you'll have like 8,000 left over and put in whatever you want. But like, I really like Colorado 1 here, especially like it's the ownership that's drawing me here. And then, you know, you go down the lineup. I don't really like Colorado 2 because Kadri is just so expensive, but there's no ownership on them. You know, like 1 to 3, I wouldn't, but like the more lineups I get to, I'll maybe have a handful of Colorado 2 here. But because their numbers aren't great, I really like Toronto 2 tonight. Tavares Nylander, that's my favorite spot on the Leafs. You know, Matthews, Marner, Bunting, okay, but they're going to get that McKinnon matchup. Like the chances of both of those top lines going off in the same game, going up against each other, has to be really rare. And I'm on the Colorado side here, so I'm going to be under on the Leafs here. Top line, I really like that second line. Like Kadri, Burakovsky, and Nichushkin's defensive numbers are very high event. Tavares Nylander, you know, might be a little bit more popular than the Matthews Marner, but you know, 12% on a 6-gamer is perfectly in check. So I really like Toronto 2 here and Colorado 1.
Yeah, Colorado 1 is definitely the line that stuck out for me once our tools started getting updated. Like, yeah. I'm with you. I didn't have a lot of interest in playing Colorado here tonight because I figured, you know, with Nathan MacKinnon back, even on the road with, you know, McDavid and Matthews on the slate, I figured, you know, minimum 10%, 6-game slate. You know, there are only so many spots you can go to. I thought minimum 10%, maybe as high as 20%. You're gonna tell me, like, even if we're off by, you know, a factor of 2, if they come in at 8%, I still love that ownership rate. You know what I mean? So like, I agree with you. And Colorado one's numbers, even this season, like, we have to remember Colorado struggled a lot through the first 3 weeks of the season or something like that, going through injuries and all that. And the top line was still elite. 63% shot share, 66% share of the scoring chances. Like, they were still just destroying the other teams, even when the rest of the team was playing poorly. So it is an elite top line still. And they have the full complement of their forwards back. So I'm with you. I do like Colorado's top line a lot. And I'll admit full on, it's mostly an ownership play. Yeah. We're getting them at a quarter of their top 2 stack percentage. So it's 100% an ownership play, because I really like Toronto's top line in a nutshell more here tonight. For one, you know, obviously they're cheaper. For 2, Colorado's penalty kill isn't that good. Like, it's, you know, bottom half of the league, you know, maybe bottom third, depending what metrics you're looking at. And Toronto's power play, we've talked about it, you know, over the last couple of weeks. It's really come around after the first couple of weeks of the season. Like, it's been absolutely deadly for the last month. So I think, you know, I don't want to say go ahead and power play stack, because honestly, neither team really takes a lot of penalties. But I think if there's a sneaky way Toronto can get there tonight, you know, let's say Colorado's clamping it down at 5-on-5 or whatever, it's through the power play. Because like I said, Toronto, great power play. Colorado, not so much. Their penalty kill, like I said, bottom 10, bottom 12 in the league, depending on what you look at. And as far as Colorado 2 goes, like you mentioned, the second line from Toronto as having a good matchup. Colorado 2 is having a decent season, but not a great season. There's Corsi for so far 55%, but only 46% of the scoring chances. So that tells me, like, maybe they're not being as selective with their shooting as they should be. Maybe they're getting a little bit lucky with their scoring. But on the flip side, Kerfoot, Tavares, and Nylander haven't been that great. You know what I mean? 47% expected shot attempt share, 42% expected goal share. That's not good. I think I kind of like Colorado 2 here as well. So, like, I think either of the top lines in this game are fine. I think if you want to get away from maybe what could be some higher ownership top lines, I think the Colorado second line is where I would look in this game. But I'll say just flat out, if you're telling me to pick one line out of this game to play one lineup tonight, it's Colorado 1. That's where I'm looking. Down on the third lines, I don't really see much. Nicholas Aube-Kubel down on the third line with Alex Newhook and Logan O'Connor looks to be like a good line for me, but I don't want to go into David Kampf and Pierre Engvall. They've been pretty good defensively of their own accord. So I think the third lines are out. Besides, you know, maybe if you want to one-off somebody, I think that's fine. But I think it's about the top lines here, or maybe even the Colorado second line. You know, 2-man Burakovsky and Nichushkin, leave that super expensive Kadri off, just put the cheap wingers on. They're both very good wingers. It's not like, you know, it's not like Kadri's the guy carrying them on that line. So, yeah, Nichushkin, Burakovsky, absolutely fine as a 2-man as well. On the blue line, Colorado defensemen other than Makar have all been priced down. Taves under 5,000, Byram just over 4,000, Gerard down to 3,300. Rasmus Sandin is a guy that's really sticking out to me for Toronto. Power play 2, 2,500, really strong play driving numbers this year. So I think Sandin and Gerard for cheap for me out of this game. What about you?
Yeah, that's where I'm looking too. If you're doing that 2-man that Cliffy mentioned, Burakovsky, Nichushkin, you can. I just had like a meltdown in my brain. You can go Devin Tays if you want to as well. I think that's perfectly fine. I played Morgan Riley the other night and I haven't recovered yet. So, you know, if you're power play stacking, I guess put him in, but I'm not going to one off Morgan.
Just chasing that Morgan Riley double dog from the couple games.
He did get the shot bonus, but that was it. He had 5 shots on goal, no blocks.
Hey, that's a shot bonus for Morgan Riley. That's Christmas come early, buddy. Great. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our premium Slack channel, our lineup builder, premium Discord, our lineup builder, and a whole lot more. If you're a new user of Awesemo Plus Platinum, then you can take advantage of the promo code we have for this show, which is NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word. That's NHL Strategy Show for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Of course, if you're looking to only play, you can find that in the description of the video below. And if you're looking to play only NHL DFS, you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus weekly packages for $3.95 a week. Stop guessing, start winning, join Awesemo Plus today. It's all caps, all one word, NHL Strategy Show for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right, let's get to the next game. I'm going to call it flippantly the COVID Bowl, but realistically, it's a big factor in this game. So Vancouver 2.9 going into Ottawa 2.7 implied goal total. I bring up COVID because Ottawa, 4 games since returning from their COVID suspension, I think they've allowed 21 goals against and like 62 shot attempts against per 60 minutes. They're not getting any better. Vancouver has just looked awful all year, and I maintain it's the fact that all those players got the more serious version of COVID in the spring before they got their vaccines. Seems like depending who you talk to, people are really excited to play one side or the other in this game. So why don't you talk us what your side is on this game?
Man, at first I was excited that Batherson was back and he's going to be on the top line with Tkachuk and Norris, and they're fully courted on the power play going into the Canucks, and I looked at their numbers and I hit the brakes. I slammed on the brakes. Their numbers together are god-awful. Like terrible. 42% shot share, 20 high danger chances against per 60. Like that's horrible. But then, like, you look who they're matching up in, according to our pal Gnarly Rad Dude, our resident Senators fan. He has them going up against the Horvat Garland Pearson line. And like on paper, that looks like a good line, but you look at their numbers and they're garbage too. So this is just like the garbage bowl. Like, the line I kind of want to play is Hoglander, Miller, Besser. Like, they're going to get Stützle, Paul Brown. And, you know, their defensive numbers are pretty good. At least, like, they have an under 2 expected goals against per 60. But, like, I don't know. Their shot share is only at 50%. It's not like they're controlling the puck, like, elitely. So you look at this Miller line, they only have a 50% shot share too, but at least they're generating a little bit here. So, I mean, not great. But then I see ownership and it's like 3-4%. And I think that's what's driving me there, because on the flip side, like, they're going to get that Stützle Paul, and you maybe want to play them, but you see their ownership and it's like almost 15%. It just blows my mind that, you know, that line is going to get 15%. So this is another ownership play. Like Hoglander, Miller, Besser, I think sometimes what I do, like, I like to throw numbers out and say, you know what, these are 3 good players. Maybe they're going to figure it out tonight. This isn't season long. This is DFS. They're getting, you know, good ownership. The Senators have given up like 7,000 goals since they came back. So because they're so low owned, I think I'm going to have some Hoglander, Miller, Besser. You want to go to Pearson, Horvat, Garland, Shore. Elias Pettersson's an interesting one-off to me. He's coming in under 1%. He's on the top power play. He's 5,400. He's playing with Justin Dowling and Podkolzin, which is fine. Like, I actually don't mind like a Pettersson Podkolzin 2-man. Like, they're just gonna get like Adam Gaudette, who just like came to the Senators for Menton and Sanford. Like, Sanford's a decent, you know, defensive winger, but like the other two, it's just like, yeah. So like, I don't mind dipping down to that third line for no ownership, because like the Senators are just going to give up goals. Like, their penalty kill's bad. They take penalties. So Pettersson's an elite one-off in my book tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Pettersson, because he's actually a guy I've written down in my notes as a one-off. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. The note about Vancouver that I want to bring up is the power play, because, you know, it's just something that we talk about with Vancouver is a lot of their goals come from the power play, especially, you know, the last couple years. They had that heavily used top power play unit, which was torching. Now, it hasn't really been as good this year, but I went and looked at Vancouver's power play numbers for the month of November. The top unit generated 120 shot attempts per 60 minutes and 7.5 goals. Those are the shot attempt numbers are great, and the goals numbers are at least good. So, you know, Ottawa has a bottom 5 penalty kill on the season. I kind of like a Vancouver power play stack here. The problem is Vancouver's power play stack is their 4 forwards are across 4 lines. So you have to get creative with your stack, you know, like a Miller Pedersen 2-man with throwing a defenseman on there, something like that. That's what you're going to have to do with your Vancouver power play stacks. But quite honestly, I don't mind playing broken Vancouver stacks here tonight. Like if Ottawa doesn't play well, like if they play like they played the 4 games since they returned from COVID, Vancouver could be scoring goals up and down this lineup here tonight. So I don't mind having pieces across different even strength lines as long as they correlate on the power play together. So like if you want to do like, you know, Pedersen and Horvat or Pedersen and Miller or whatever, just anything along those lines, I think that's perfectly fine. So that's kind of where I'm focusing on this game. And I'm glad you mentioned that Vancouver third line of Pedersen and Dowling. Like, absolutely, I love Pedersen as a one-off. Very good numbers in a small sample. Like, you know, we're talking 33 minutes, so that's about 4 games worth of ice time, but almost 70 shot attempts per 60 minutes in 4 games on a team that hasn't looked good doing anything all year. Like, I'll take any glimmer of hope I can get against the Ottawa Senators. So yes, I do like Vancouver power play stacking. I do like the Vancouver top line. If you just want a full, you know, Hoglander, Miller, Besser, like I even wrote that up in the power plays article today. I think that's just fine. But I think personally, I might lean more towards some sort of Vancouver power play stack, really take advantage of that awful Ottawa penalty kill, and then, you know, get some players all through the lineup, because I do think there's a chance that, you know, Vancouver just lays the wood here tonight. On the Ottawa side, I'm with you. I want to stay away from that top line, but I'm just too attracted to them. They do have really good offensive numbers. They do have really bad defensive numbers. I'm sorry, but they do still have some good offensive numbers this year. So I think they can trade chances against a weak Vancouver team, a weak Vancouver defensive Vancouver team who also have a bad penalty kill of their own. So in this game for me, it's Ottawa 1, Vancouver, the Miller line, but mostly on Vancouver, I like power play stacking. So power play stacking the Vancouver side. On the blue line, is there anybody that sticks out to you here on the blue line?
Artem Zub back with Shabbat, 3,600. Y'all know what to do.
Yeah, Artem Zub and Thomas Chabot. I don't know why that pairing was ever broken up earlier in the season, but yeah, now that they're back together, I do like that 2-man as well. I see a $5 super chat from our buddy S. Goodman. Says, just got here. Rope, there it is. Okay, listen. Thank you very much for the super chat. We're on today's slate. We've already done the slate review. But thank you very much for the super chat, and good night last night, Mr. Goodman. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we'll reach out via email with your coupon. And if you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including Sunday's $1 million NFL Baller. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. And remember, we have free premium tools and data up on the site if you want to check us out before spending your money here. We have NBA player projections and NHL player rankings for free up on the site tonight. All right, next game, Seattle, 2.6 implied goal total. They're going into Detroit. The Red Wings have a 3.0 implied goal total. Chris Driedger out for Seattle, so Grubauer is going to start. Driedger's going to be out for a while. Jordan Eberle left the last game for Seattle, didn't skate at the morning skate today. So it almost certainly looks like Jordan Eberle's going to be out. Jaden Schwartz also didn't skate at the morning skate today. So Seattle could be losing 2/3 of their top line here tonight. But at the same time, we don't have line combinations without Schwartz and Eberle. So we don't really know how that's going to go. What do you think about this game, Josh?
I wish we had lines because I wanted to attack that Pia Suter line. Since Zadina's moved off and Giovanni Smith's up there, like their numbers are absolutely atrocious. It's like they're like in the 30s for their shot share percentage. It's just horrific. I feel like it's gonna be Yanni Gord, but like we just don't know. So, you know, I wish we got clarification on the line. Like if it's like Gord, Donskoy, Donato, like that's a 9,600 line that I would love to play.
Yeah.
So as we sit here, it's not as, of course they flex the wings to 7:30. Like no one plays more 7:30 games in the NHL than the Detroit Red Wings. Because what you want to do after the 7 p.m. games go to intermission is make your eyes bleed by watching some Detroit Red Wings hockey. Like that's just, I don't get it. But anyway, sorry. Whew. Woosah. Remember your pressure points.
Worked up over the Detroit start.
Yeah. Remember your pressure points. But yeah, so I'm hoping it's something like Gord, Donskoy, Donato, and they're going to get that second line of Suter Fabry because a line under 10K, getting that line with some power play time is something I want to do. And then on the wing side, you know, in 1 to 3, I'm probably out on the top line. I think you can get to them in MME because they've been a very, very good line. The problem is like Seattle is a good defensive team. Maybe they take some hits without these guys in. We just have to see the lineup. So in MME, I think Detroit 1 makes some sense. Detroit 2, I'm out on until Zadina moves back. Like it has to be sooner than later, unless like Blasel doesn't look at analytics. My dogs are just going absolutely nuclear right now, so I'll kick it back to you and see what.
Is that a Detroit bark though?
They're like crying. They're crying.
Oh, Detroit cry? Is that even better than a bark, or is that worse?
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna find out tonight. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, what we mentioned in our last one of our last shows when we had Detroit was how the top lines, their numbers were kind of sliding. Their last 10 games together, 48% shot share, 48% scoring chance share. Those numbers are sliding because those were, in the high 50s earlier in the season. So I'm not like, I wouldn't say no to playing Detroit 1 here tonight, but as you mentioned, Seattle, very good defensive team. Like Eberle, like Schwartz might be a hit defensively. I think Eberle, it's more offensively than defensively. But I think it's still going to be a tough matchup here for Detroit, especially where Seattle's goaltending has started to right the ship a little bit. They're not letting in 1 out of every 5 shots anymore. So Seattle actually has, they're actually not giving up as many goals as they were. And as you mentioned, that Detroit second line, just brutal without Philip Zadina there. So I'm going to take a stab in this game and assume that Donskoy and Donato, like, here's the thing. Seattle's been playing better of late, and they've won 2 games in a row. And they have the option tonight of just moving Donato and Donskoy up on Gord's line and then leaving the rest of their lines the same. So I think that kind of makes sense to me. It's just moving Donato and Donskoy up with Gord and then leaving, your second and third lines the exact same. So that's how I'm going to build tonight. I'm going to build as if Donskoy and Donato are playing with Gord. And that's the line that I want to play here tonight. They're going into Detroit too. That Detroit second line, as we mentioned, without Zadina, numbers are awful. So Gord, Donato, Donskoy, that's where I'm focusing in this game. If you want to play Detroit 1, go ahead. They're not a focus for me in 1 to 3. They would definitely be more of a 20 max type deal. On the blue line, sure doesn't look like Mark Giordano is coming back. Adam Larson played like 24 minutes or has been playing 24 minutes a game without him. Still only 3,300. I think he's playable. Anybody else kind of stick out to you?
At the Adam Larson dog bark. Not really. I mean, if Hronik's back 34, or he's back, 3,400 is fine as a one-off. That's really about it, I think.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot for me in that game for defensemen either. All right. We do have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here, and I think if you finish third in the quarter arcade, you would get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame here. And this is how you get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame here. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants, and then you tweet the wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. That's Awesemo HOF on Twitter. You do that, and you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. It's a value worth a few $100s every month. You can only win 1 free month per year, but that 1 free month could really help you out in your DFS career. You'll see some winners coming up on your screens. You'll see a 3rd place for Sixers fan. I think he's been having a pretty good NBA season. It sure seems like he's been up in these charts almost every day. You see Coleman Card finish first in the NBA. In FanDuel's 25K NBA 20 max. You see some sports betting. You see the NBA prop tool bets. We have a lot of stuff up on the site that helps people win, and we love to celebrate those wins. So be sure to put the Awesemo avatar in your profile and then tweet the wins to Awesemo HOF on Twitter to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right, let's get to this next game. 2.8 implied goal total for the Penguins. 3.3 for the Edmonton Oilers. It's probably going to be a fairly popular spot for a lot of ownership. There's a lot of talent on both sides. What do you like here, Josh?
David creeping up to 10K. We like it. I wish he was over 10K because he's still projected at 25% right now. Listen, like the Oilers, I feel like a broken record every time I break them down. You can power play stack them, or you could power play stack them. Like, I don't really want to play Zach Cassian. I don't really want to play Kyler Yamamoto. You know what I mean? So, like, I'll do McDavid, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl. Like, the popular one is, McDavid, Draisaitl, and one of the other wingers. They're 19-1 for the 2 of them. But there is some good value tonight, so I think, that's still going to be a popular combo. There's not really much else to say about the Oilers other than the top line is super high event. So I really like the Pittsburgh top line tonight. Listen, we've talked ad nauseum about Crosby coming back from COVID, so you'd have our concerns there. But with Evan Rodriguez there, like, they are so good. Like, and it just feels weird to say that, but if you look at like their numbers with and without Rodriguez, it's stark. Like 2021, weird stuff coming out of my mouth. But like it's just true. Like, he's been a shot machine. Stop growling at the dog. She's gonna kill you. But like Pit 1 is one of my favorite spots tonight. If you want to go down to Pit 2, I don't really want to go down to Pit 2. Like, I think I'd rather stack Edmonton 2 here tonight. Like, do like Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, because they're, Carter's numbers defensively have fallen off a little bit here. So another note, I hope they keep Puljujarvi on the 3rd line so the Rangers can get a discount on him when they trade for him at the deadline. But Pit 1, one of my favorite spots of the night, Edmonton power play.
Yeah, I want to talk about the power plays and penalty kills here because Pittsburgh has taken the second fewest penalties of any team in the league, and they have a top 5 penalty kill. Like, I know we say McDavid is matchup proof, but those are pretty tough because, like, obviously the officials aren't favoring McDavid and giving him a bunch of power plays anyway. So it's not like, they're going to jump out and get 5 or 6 power plays here tonight. Like, they might only get a couple power plays against this Pittsburgh team here tonight, and the Pittsburgh penalty kill has been very good. Crosby's line since returning, I'm glad you mentioned it. 54% shot share, 58% scoring chance share. They're really starting to roll. I'm with you. I do like that top line here in this game. Like you mentioned, Pittsburgh's second line defensive numbers not great, 48% shot share. So I do like Edmonton 2 here a little bit. But Edmonton's really going through it with their defensemen.
Oh yeah,
they're missing no fewer than 3 starters. Up to 5, depending on which guys you want to count as starters. And they're 9th in time shorthanded this year. And 3 of those defensemen are regular penalty killing defensemen. So I think the Pittsburgh power play could really get going in here. So I do like the Pittsburgh top line out of this game the most. Anybody sticking out to you on the blue line? Because I think every single Pittsburgh defenseman has burned me for like 3 years now. So I'm really getting sick of playing them. I wrote up Philip Broberg in the Power Plays article, 2,700, probably going to have to play a lot of minutes with all this defensemen out.
Yeah, I don't really like anyone on the Pittsburgh side. If you want to put in Letang for correlation, that's fine. On the Edmonton side, yeah, Broberg makes sense. Chris Russell may block 412 shots tonight at 2,700. So you want to put in the Cowboy, go for it. I really don't want to spend up for anybody if I don't have to.
Yeah, maybe I should go check the projection real quick because it made me laugh earlier when I checked our projections. We had Chris Russell for over 10 DK points at 27.
It's still there. It's still there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Chris Russell projects as probably one of the best values you'll literally ever see in DFS, in NHL DFS anyway. So yeah, Chris Russell definitely a decent punt here tonight. We have more shows coming up after us today. We have the No House Advantage NFL Strategy Show coming up with Eton and Greg at 4 Eastern. And then at 4:45 Eastern, we have the boss man, Alex, and Adam with the NBA Deeper Dive. And then the NBA Live Before Lock with Eric and Greg coming up right after them. So NFL, get a start on your NFL research with Eton and Greg here in about an hour, and then get your NBA research on just after that. All right, one more game to get to. Vegas, 3.1 implied goal total. They're going into Anaheim. The Ducks have a 2.4 implied goal total. Some notes here. Ryan Getzlaf, I think you can call him a game time decision. We're not expecting him to play. Sam Steele probably going to jump up to the top line with Troy Terry. Sam Steele was also by far the best defensive player on Anaheim's third line. And Anaheim's third line is often used as a shutdown line. And that means they're going up against Vegas 1 here tonight. I think I know who you like here, Josh, but why don't you talk about this game anyway?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to send out Isaac Lundestrom, Jakob Silfverberg, and Nick Delorier against Stevenson, Stone, Pacioretty, like, I don't even have a flag to plant, but I'm going to plant one in my desk. Like, Vegas 1, late hammer. We're doing it. We love to see it. They're still underpriced. Like, they are a $20,000 line coming in at like 16 and change. So, yeah, love Vegas 1 tonight. You want to go to Vegas 2, probably negative correlation there. Like, the thing is with, like, the Ducks, right? Getzlaf isn't great anymore, but when he's out, the rest of that lineup just suffers because they have to move people around, and they're just not a great team defensively without him.
Yeah, they don't have the depth to move people around like that.
Like, Sam Steele is a very good defensive winger. I don't think he's a top line center in the NHL. Oh. So, like, the defensive matchups just get so much more juicier for, Vegas. So, like, that top line is one of my favorite spots tonight. You want to go to that second line, that's perfectly fine. Like, they're also very cheap. They're going to get a decent matchup. So I'm in on Vegas tonight. Ducks on a back-to-back. Like, I'm probably going to be out on them. Like, if you want to get to a little bit of Milano, Zegras, Raquel in MME, that's fine. In 1 to 3, I don't think this is the spot.
Yeah, I should mention Anaheim has been sending that second line, that very good second line, by the way, Zegras and Milano and Raquel, up against third and fourth lines. So, they're not going to see the big guns from Vegas here tonight. So I think if there is a stack on Anaheim, it's definitely that second line. But a 2.4 total at home, and Vegas, they're getting healthy and have really started to, look like the cup contender they're supposed to be over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think this is a Vegas 1 game for me. The reason their ownership is in check is because you can't play Vegas 1 and, Colorado, or Vegas 1 in Toronto, or Vegas 1 in Edmonton, or Vegas 1 in Pittsburgh. Like, all those lines compete with Vegas 1 for ownership. And that's exactly what we like here at Awesemo. That Vegas top line, it's like a 700-minute sample of scoring 5.3 goals per 60 minutes. That's a low-grade power play every time they step on the ice.
They're always under-owned, too, when there's other stuff on the slate. They're an elite line. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And Chandler Stevenson's on the top power play now. Like, we loved sacking when he was not even on the power play. Yeah. Now he's on the power play, so you know what to do.
Yeah, Vegas 1, definitely probably our favorite line here tonight. Shea Theodore would be the defenseman to stack with them. He's on the power play. I don't think it's necessary to put him in the stack. I think you're fine with just the forwards, but that would be the stack to use. All right. We have to get out of here fairly quickly. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick pick and your goalies. I wrote up Anthony Stolarz for my goalie in the Power Plays article. It's just he's the cheapest home goalie on the slate today, and Vegas probably should pepper him with a lot of shots.
The one thing I will say, like, people are going to be confused why we just said we love Vegas 1, but you also mentioned you like Stolarz. But because we love Vegas so much, is more reason to play Stolarz and GPP because they're going to have a lot of shot volume. So even if Stolarz loses, there's a good chance he's going to see the saves bonus unless he gets ran out of the building.
Yeah, exactly. Like Vegas could score. They could pull up Florida last night when Florida scored 5 and Samsonov is still fine. So yeah, exactly. Like Stolarz, he's one of my favorite goalies on the slate. Definitely going to be considering him. Obviously, Shesterkin definitely in play for me as well. Carter Hart on the road as a cheap GPP goalie. My hat trick pick is Max Pacioretty. Who you got, Josh?
I like Demko. I like the goalies in the Rangers games, Hart and Igor. And my hat trick pick is Evan Rodriguez.
I love it. Erod, hat trick pick from Josh. I got Max Pacioretty for my hat trick pick. For Mike, our producer, for Josh, for Josh's dogs, Slim Cliffy saying good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.